So I thought I might do one final video here. And the reason is, I thought we might make a little bit of a contrast. We've been talking about the Kukri as a sort of a very destructive, gross weapon that has a lot of um, dynamics that involve a lot of force, okay, as opposed to something like a Tanto, okay, which, while not exactly an extreme opposite, can be used in a very different fashion, okay? And when we're talking about lining up for cuts and things with the Tanto, you don't have to worry so much about rotational movements, okay? As positioning your body properly when you're cutting, knowing the parts of the weapon, just like with the Kukri. And this is something you don't hear people discuss, but if you look at this weapon, there's two blades on it, not one. You have this blade, and you have this blade. This blade, in many ways, is equally as dangerous, if not more dangerous, because not only does it have the point, but you can catch things at an angle. This is what makes a Tanto such a dangerous design. I'm just going to take a throwing knife here and show you, but a weapon that has somewhat of a shape like this, you can have many different shapes, but it isn't really does not lend itself to catching things at the very end with any force, okay? You have the tip, but it's not quite the same. If you look at a Tanto, this can cut across targets, even if we're talking about center lining or targets to the arteries, to the tissues, okay? And you don't need to extend yourself very much to just catch a person with that tip, okay? So you have two cutting surfaces on this, okay? And you don't need to generate much force at all. So it's just a question of dexterity becomes much more relevant, okay? You're still using the same rotational dynamics, but okay, from this business, looking out for some landmines my boys laid here. People with dogs understand. You know, making a circle, okay? This movement, okay, doesn't seem like much, but it's not the same as this. And you catch a person in that circle very easily with this. And it allows you to parry very easily. So just using angular movements will make a person, when they're cutting into you, expose their arm, because people don't expect the angle at which this can do damage. They're expecting something like this, which can do some damage this way also if you make your parry movements properly, but they're not quite as fitted to getting as much of the blade onto the person as a Tanto design, okay? If I just turn this over right to this area, okay, somebody makes a cut, boom, okay? So it's more a question of using your dexterity and fine motor movement. Now, the challenge to that is, when we're in a situation where our adrenaline is going and we're in fight or flight, you have to really train those movements so they're second nature. However, again, if you look at them as a function of distance and timing, you'll get better at them faster than trying to just necessarily make an effort to do small movements, okay? The movement comes with the positioning. So something cuts here, okay? This movement, okay? This is a whole body movement. Here, 1, 2, okay? You can make that a very small movement, okay? You can make it something where you also are deflectionary. So you control something here that's cut at you, and you cut, okay? Up, down, on the arm, okay? The key here is to understand that something coming this way, you coming this way, works in all cases. It's consistent. So, for example, if I'm attacking with a knife and he has a knife, 1, 2, I'm closer to him and I'm pursuing here, okay? If I'm defending against a knife, okay? Same thing. Here, I'm coming in, following his knife back, okay? Very important, okay? What people do that's a big mistake is, because I'm defending, he makes a cut at me, and I do this. The problem with that is he'll just bring the knife back, okay? And he'll probably either cut my arm as he brings it back, or he'll just keep stabbing at me until I'm going backwards and he's running forwards, okay? Big difference between this and this. And a knife will teach you how to be aggressive that way. There's a little bit more of an effort, a little bit easier to understand for the body that I have a knife and he has a knife. When he cuts here, I can go towards him because I also have a knife, right? Make him go back. You're cutting him now, okay? Then you can evolve that to your empty hand, doing the same movement, okay? Training through repetition, okay? Training your responsiveness so that you don't go back when you're being attacked, all right? But that's something that goes hand in hand with understanding the properties of a knife where you have dexterity, okay? Whereas something with a kukri, because it's a little bit more of a large and, weapon that has a lot more mass, you tend to use bigger body postures. You're coming in and taking his center, cutting through with this big weapon. So you can unify these concepts, which is what we started the whole video series about, if you can remember. Unity of your balance, your positioning, your timing, okay? My purpose is to show you, if you understand everything that we've just been through, your body doesn't have to do anything particular to train in the proper body movements. And then when you pick up the weapon, it's not difficult to use the weapon, okay? It's also not difficult to use your body without the weapon, okay? Because the same principles apply, okay? If I'm doing Kempo Yuari, okay? Same idea. I'm here, I'm deflecting, okay? The hands are deflecting while the feet are moving, okay? All these demonstrations where people stand still and do all this, no, okay? I'm walking, the body's moving, okay? The hands are deflecting so I can come in, okay? It looks sloppy, but what you're doing is, as something comes this way towards you, you're pushing it out of the way so you can come in to his center line to attack, okay? Whether it be with this, okay, or with a weapon. The same principle applies, okay? Once you learn that and understand that, okay, boom, bam, shuto, okay? Just like with a cut, okay? Same principles, okay? You can foreshorten that for combat, okay? Make that very fast. Just here, here. Simple rotational movement, right? Rotational movement, this is here, protecting you. Anything that's trying to come in on this angle will run into this, and this is here to hit, okay? Bam, throat, okay? Boom, eyes, okay? Bridge of the nose, okay? Doesn't matter. You can keep this going, even if you're dealing with somebody else, okay? Now, it's also psychological. Something is attacking you this way, okay? And you have multiple attackers. If I'm here and I'm holding this knife and I'm doing this, I'm keeping them back, but everybody's very aware, okay? So they can keep their distance and it becomes a Mexican standoff, right? This is hidden, okay? On the other hand, if I'm just doing this, there's no threat here, right? Then when you actually cut, okay, or if you're hitting, there's really no threat doing this. The person doesn't feel it, but you've protected here and you're controlling them with this arm, okay? And when you actually catch them, you catch them in the vital area, they're not prepared to protect against, okay? So there's that dimension as well, okay? Anyway, this should give you some stuff to look at. Think of the unity of all the ideas here, okay? The physical, okay? The timing, the psychological, okay? And the application to various tools that one may use.